Welcome, everybody, to our latest presenter session. Today, I am proud to sit and talk with my sister from North Carolina, right up the road from where I'm at here in Georgia, Kim Stotesbury. Of course, my name is Robert Lee. I am the chair of the Convention Conference Communications Committee. I keep saying convention, Kim, but I know it's conference. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Like I was telling you before we jumped on, living the dream, one nightmare at a time.
And I am stealing that, brother. I'm taking it. That one's mine. I'll give you credit the first time I use it, then it's mine.
Hey, look, I'm sure I took it from somewhere else. So, what is it that our friend Teresa says, rip off and duplicate? Please do it constantly. So, now before we jumped on, we were talking about how you're a little old school in REEA, that your first conference, I'm not going to say when, was in Portland, Maine. And here we are
Back
going
in the
to
dark ages.
back in the dark ages. Is that pre-internet or is that right around the time that the internet was in its
Oh no,
nascent
that's
stages?
pre-internet. We were still using overhead projectors at that time.
Oh,
And the goal was to manage your transparencies. Some of you guys don't even know what that means.
I, believe it or not, remember transparencies. Now, I'm not going to tell you where I was when I was using transparencies, or more appropriately, my educators were using transparencies, but yes, I do recall exactly what they look like. But I
I was
remember
going to say elementary school, Rob. You saw it in elementary school.
But yes, and I will say at that time in my life, I was well past elementary school, so I
Okay.
may not look it, but I've got some gray hairs. I'm a little bit older than most people give me credit for. So, but Portland, Maine, I mean that had to be an awesome experience because Portland is just a great town to visit, to go and take part in a really cool East Coast city.
It was beautiful, and it was June, so the weather was wonderful, very safe to walk by yourself. We had some wonderful uh, excursions that we took, so we enjoyed the location immensely. The conference itself, Rob, knocked my socks off. I I was a brand new instructor. I had maybe taught two pre-licensed courses at a local community college, which would have gone a semester, one course. And I believe I had taught two courses, and I felt compelled to educate myself on how to teach people because I had no experience with that, and I had really no desire to do it until it just, well, I stumbled upon it. I'll say it was divine intervention. I was given an opportunity and I grabbed it with both hands. And while I'd never had any aspirations to be an educator, to be a teacher, as soon as I grabbed that opportunity and I dove in, I realized that I didn't just want to teach, I wanted to be exceptional. And I didn't know how to do that by myself. So REEA came up as an opportunity. The local community college actually sent me to a state conference with the North Carolina Real Estate Commission, and I saw Mark Barker and George Bell at that conference, and I got a little taste of REEA, and I went to that uh, following June REEA conference, and I will never be the same. And I
Yeah,
am
and
much
I
better
was
for it.
going to ask you who your inspirations were, but you just mentioned Mark Barker, who I've had the privilege to meet in the few years that I've been involved in REIA. I don't know the other gentleman. How have those inspirations changed over the course of time? Because again, we're not saying when that conference was, but you've seen a lot of new people come into the organization. You've seen a lot of people leave. Who are some of those other inspirations that have kept you going as somebody that didn't really have that intention of being an educator?
Wow. I I do not want to offend anybody if I leave you off this laundry list of
Hmm.
folks that have just really given of themselves to help me be better, whether it was a presentation as a group that I observed or whether they came alongside me and helped me literally shared their time and their energy with me personally to be better. And I could name many, many, many. I'll start with my dear friend Carol Murray. She retired a
Hmm.
few years ago. Carol Murray changed my life. She's been helpful. I look back at the very beginning, and I would have to say close to me helping me would be um, Cindy Chandler and Bill
Hmm.
Gallagher. And my hero, still to this day, he has passed since, is Gary Taylor. And I know you don't know
Hmm.
Gary. He passed many, many years ago, but he gave me an opportunity at a very large private school in Charlotte as a brand new instructor. And I had some complaints with my first class. Worst instructor ever, never take her class again. I mean, there weren't many, and there were some wonderful comments, but I think a really good instructor always remembers the ones that were harsh
Of course.
because we don't want those and we want to fix that. And I thought I just kind of thought, oh, he's going to fire me. You know, he's going to
Yeah.
can me. I'm trying, but he's going to can me. And he met me and he said, sour grapes. You're doing a good job. Just keep going. And I will never forget him for that. He also he didn't just encourage me to get my DREI. He said, you need your DREI. You need to start in this program. You start in this program, and that's exactly what you need. And he went so far, Rob, as to drive probably an hour and a half through 5 o'clock traffic in Charlotte to the community college I was teaching in to do my video for me. And he'd do
Hmm.
the video and he'd say, yeah, that's not it. And then he'd drive back the next week and do it again. No, you don't want to send that one in. Not, you know, and he actually, the very last time he had to drive when I finished, he said, that's the one. And anyway, I'll just always be forever grateful to Gary Taylor. If I flash forward in the last decade, folks that are just very inspiring to me, I'd have to mention Lynn Elder, who was
Hmm.
very generous with his time and his energy for me, and Teresa Barnaby. She is just amazing. I stand kind of in awe sometimes as I watch her work. And
Inspiration for us all. And it amazes me, right? When we talk about this organization, we're talking about people, right? So inspirations are not necessarily moments like the reviews on your instruction, but it's the people that just remind you of the human connections that we build. And those are the things that I know keep me going. It sounds like they're the things that keep you going. It's what makes this conference absolutely amazing. And looking forward to the conference, I mean, how have those moments of inspiration, those people of inspiration, which sounds like you have a wonderful problem of having too many points of inspiration, uh, how are they going to shape the way that you present this year?
well, my goal is to make them proud. I
Hmm.
want, if Gary Taylor could be there, I would want him to say, I knew she could do it. You know, yay, she managed. I have a great deal of respect for all of my peers at REEA and DREI members, and I always strive when I take the platform to meet that mark, to pay attention to the GAPE criteria and do all the little things that will make my students or the audience members comfortable, excited, engaged, connected, if you will. I think that's really, really important. So I really do put a lot of pressure on myself when I get ready to present, and I have never managed to walk away going, wow, that was perfect. I always walk away going, okay, maybe not too bad, but here's what you need to do next time. And
Hmm.
honestly, I hope that's what makes me a really good, caring, and effective educator. So, yeah,
So,
I just want to
so
make all my friends proud.
absolute. Look. I'm proud to have sat through the GSI class with you last year. So you are doing a great number of us proud just by virtue of the fact that you're just a good person to be around, right? Regardless of the credentials that you have. I think the most important credential anybody can have is just having a good spirit and a good soul. And I'm excited to hear what your session is about. And obviously, we're not going to share the whole secret today, but can you give us one little nugget that can inspire all of us to get ready for your session in Myrtle Beach?
Absolutely. I'm going to spend some time working on my ability to build bridges and segues and to contextualize topics so that from one topic to the next topic it's not disjointed. It's not like you're just dumping a bunch of stuff on somebody. It's like, okay, here was where we start and this is what we add, and then we're going to add another layer and another layer, so we build this beautiful, maybe this beautiful cake, if you will, or this
Mhm.
beautiful bridge, so you can go from one to the other. And if you can help your students see how these pieces fit together, it makes them much easier for them to appreciate the content and understand the content and stay engaged rather than just fall by the wayside going, oh, it's too much. I can't do this. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. We teach real estate complex topics. And if we really care about the success of our students, then we have to take the time to build those bridges, to
Mhm.
contextualize those concepts. And I'll be honest with you, Rob, it is the hardest thing to do as an instructor. I've been working on it for over 30 years. I'll just tell you how long. I've been working it for over 30 years. And I would like to say I do it well sometimes. I still believe I have a long way to go. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to present on this topic, because if you present on the topic, you have to immerse yourself in it. You
Mhm.
learn more. And I'm excited to see you guys in Myrtle Beach. And I'm excited to talk about how do we segue effectively for our students, and how do we look like a pro, you know?
Absolutely. Well, look, I appreciate you taking the time today, speaking of segues, to lay the foundation for that wonderful series and topic that you'll be talking about in Myrtle Beach. And if any of you are excited to be inspired to hear how it is that you build context around it, your education and instruction and presentation, I encourage you to register for the conference right now because we have early bird rates right now. And you definitely don't want to miss out on Myrtle Beach, the excitement of that conference, the beautiful venue that conference will take place in, but more importantly, the sessions like Kim's session, where you can master the craft of being a real estate educator and just an all around good person, which I know is something that Kim, you will present in your class in addition to the instruction of understanding context. Thank you so much for joining us for this session today.
Thank you, Rob, for having me. I look forward to seeing all you guys in Myrtle Beach.
Absolutely. Remember, reaconference.com, get registered, and we'll see you on our next interview.